Not everybody that dresses like a Jew and looks like a Jew is actually Jewish in the real meaning of the word. Maybe technically, yes, but not in a real sense. Some people just betray the cause, betray the peoplehood, really betray the will of God. Here's a video of a so-called rabbi, a guy who looks like a rabbi, who's basically given away our homeland to the haters with his mouth, with his words. Let's check it out.
I just came out here from New York, where we have tens and hundreds of people who are going out on a weekly basis supporting the Palestinian and the Muslim communities. You know, you don't have to be Muslim, you don't have to be Jewish.
Yeah, so first thing is he's supporting the Palestinians and the Muslim community. Really what he's supporting is terrorism and the destruction of Israel, because that's what they're calling for right now, right? We're fighting terrorists who want to kill and destroy Israel. You stand up with those guys, you're standing up on the other side. It's not about supporting Muslims in general. It's specifically in this time, you are supporting the people who say Israel's the bad guy, Israel's at fault, Israel should be destroyed from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, i.e. erase Israel. And so here's this guy, supposedly, a Jew, looks like it, but basically he's a sellout. He's a sellout of his peoplehood. And for what? What exactly is he standing for? People who would give him a chance to live in their world? Of course not. They just use him as a patsy, as a useful idiot, in order to be like, look, even the Jews stand up against Israel.
You just have to be humane to show sympathy what's going on right now in
Showing sympathy to terrorists is not humane.
Gaza. You know, people have been asking me, how is October 7th possible to happen? And people have to realize that this is a byproduct. This is not an isolated incident, but this is a byproduct of 75 years of frustration and occupation that the Palestinian population have been living under.
Well, it is 75 years of frustration, but not because of occupation. The frustration is that there's nothing more frustrating than a shiny Jewish state in the middle of the Islamic world. Israel should have never come up. It should have never been born, because according to Islam, they are the superior religion, and Jewish people should never conquer, or anybody else should conquer, lands that were once in Muslim control. That is very frustrating, but certainly not because of occupation. Remember, the Arab world is gigantic, ginormous. It's got 22 countries. Its landmass is bigger than the United States. Israel is a tiny, tiny little part of it. It's not because of frustration of occupation. That's a sham. That's a lie. In fact, most Arabs moved in to the land of Israel because they saw that there was opportunity to make a living, because the Jews were in town finally after a hiatus. So it's definitely not because of the occupation, but there is a frustration of 75 years. That is true.
People over here by the protest are labeling Israel a terrorist state, and I want to talk about that a little. You know, every country has their value systems. Canada, we believe in democracy. The Muslim population, they believe in the Quran. The Jews, they believe in their Bible. The Zionist movement was started because there were individuals who wanted to live an immoral life. They want to be free of all morality, and it has to be shut down.
Okay, so Israel, because this so-called rabbi doesn't like that Israel was started as a secular state, he wants to claim now that it was about throwing off all godliness and all religion and all rules, and it was some kind of bacchanalia, it was some kind of hedonistic thing. But that's not true. That's not true. The Jews were running away from anti-Semitism throughout the world. They felt the call of the rebuilding of Zion, the fulfillment of an ancient dream. They also wanted to get away from anti-Semitism. And yeah, they wanted to express their various ways. There are many different ways of expressing their Judaism in religion, and also just in plain culture, in secular culture, and in science, and in defense, and in farming, and in language, and in writing. And so they came back to the land of Israel. This idea that it was somehow a haven for some kind of hedonism is a dream of anti-Zionists like this so-called rabbi who want to somehow figure out a way to besmirch Israel instead of realizing that it's the ingathering of the exiles. But he is exilic. He doesn't like the ingathering of the exiles. He wants to stay in New York and Canada forever. That's where he thinks his Judaism will flourish. By the way, his Judaism is no different than the my Judaism of the progressives. He's basically basically it's an idolatry, because he doesn't want to do the Judaism of God. He wants to do the Judaism of self. He wants to serve himself, and in his mind, he's reached the final destination, which is the exile.
We need people to come out here to show them this is unacceptable. Judaism doesn't allow a state. Judaism doesn't allow a state. You see this on Twitter a lot of times. What does that mean? Didn't we have states in the first temple under King David and Solomon? In the second temple, when the Maccabees took control of the land and made it independent? Of course it was a state. What do you mean Judaism doesn't allow a state? What an absurd thing. It keeps telling us, the Bible keeps telling us, the Torah tells us, don't give up your land to the other peoples. This is the land that I've given you. I want you to run a state. We have laws about how to run a state. So this is just total absurdity. Again, from a so-called rabbi who's trying to explain to us that Judaism doesn't allow a state. Where is he living? In exile. Allow an army. And
doesn't allow an army? We have laws in the Torah about how to have an army. I don't know where this guy's coming from.
We need people like you to come out there and to show that this is not acceptable. Free Palestine.
That's right. Free Palestine, right? Destroy the Jews. Have another Holocaust for the sake of this guy's my Judaism. So this is a fake rabbi. It's not really real. And it's not a coincidence that he keeps hiding behind his microphone, because that is not Judaism. What he says about Israel is true about him. Does not stand for Judaism. He is a fake. He is a fake, and he's a patsy, and he's selling out his peoplehood. But I'm not even sure what that is. All I can tell you is there's a guy there in a garb, and he claims to speak in the name of Judaism, and he's lining up with the enemy. And those enemies would be happy to string him up as well if he wasn't a useful idiot for their cause. Well, some people, I guess, are confused. But the God of Israel is bringing the Jewish people back home. We have every right to be in our ancestral homeland. We will fight for our ancestral homeland. We have 7 million Jews in this land now, which means really that it's coming to fruition, the ingathering of the exiles. No matter if you have a few people who are stuck in thinking of the past, or trying to legitimize ways why they are not part of the redemptive process, that's their problem. The truth is that we're coming back home, and God has given us strength to push back our enemies, to return to our homeland, and hopefully make it into a holy land with a holy Jerusalem, which sends out light to the world.